Ages on the screen, heroes in between. Bad sickness falling, Gotham City lights the sea. Legends guiding me, dark nights rising from silver screen to podcast streams. Batmanimation's wild extremes. Let's dive in. Batman on film, we ride fight. Animated tales take flight.
The Adventures of Batman, welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to episode 55 of Batmanimation, a Batman on Film podcast exploring the animated adventures of the Caped Crusader. Talking about Caped Crusader, I am your host, Ryan Lauer, and with me, as always, is the gumbo guru himself, BOF's head honcho, Bill Jett Ramey. Bill, how are you?
I'm good. I want you to know that
Okay.
in EA Sports NCAA football,
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing I don't know, it's kind of like it's whatever they call the franchise mode in Madden. Dynasty, I think. But I'm playing UT.
Okay.
And I did beat Michigan week 2.
Oh, okay. Foreshadowing or
son of a bitch. No.
son of a bitch. I mean, we'll find out in what, like 3.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ann Arbor together, huh?
I would love to go to go to a game there. You know what I'm saying? Just the sports person in me. It wouldn't even have to be, it wouldn't have to be the Longhorns playing. It could just be anybody, What would be cool is really to go see Ohio State and Michigan,
At Michigan. Or would you like to be a little bit of like a pistol and go into the Lions Den supporting Michigan?
Yeah.
That's kind of fun too.
I would see it. I would actually see it at either place or both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I want to see Yankees, Red Sox, and I'm not a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan, but just sports bucket list things,
Okay. Well, you got like role reversal here. You got me ready to go on a tangent now, Bill.
Okay.
I've only been to like 2 or 3 college football stadiums. Michigan, obviously the Big House is one of them. And that is quite a sight when you're in the stadium itself and when it's game time and it's packed. And there's always such a good feeling when you're at the home field of your team and you're like, I'm with my people. That's a fun environment. But I don't know if I'd be flirting with death if I went to Columbus to watch Michigan play Ohio State, because those babies have gotten even more childlike, because I don't know if you've paid attention the past 3 years, but they lost to Michigan 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're a little bit more heated now, and I don't know if they just spot me in maize and blue and just take me out or what. But it could almost be fun enough to toy with.
That's the gamble that you always play if you go to see your team at the opposing stadium.
Mm-hmm.
If you win, it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
If you lose, it's hell. There's no in between. There's no in between. I mean, it's either
I'm not
complete. Yeah,
I don't want to. I don't poke the bear. I'm not like a trash talker or anything. Pete tried earlier this year, with the Roll Tide and everything. 'Cause he was riding, the bandwagon, and that blew up in his face. I just like to let the universe play itself out, and but that I've always heard that never go to a Philadelphia Eagles game to root for another team,
especially the one
in Philadelphia.
that
I
I
mean.
cheer
Yeah.
for. Yes, yeah, exactly.
I've heard like do not do that because
You know what?
it's
I'll
yeah, it's a
yeah.
death sentence.
I tell you what, though, they're so strict on fan behavior now
In
at
Philly
NFL,
or like overall?
or just
Okay.
the NFL in general at each stadium, that they, they don't put up with any bullshit. I mean,
Good.
you're arrested, you're gone, you lose your season tickets, all kind of, if you have season tickets. So um I'm sure it's still a lively environment,
Yeah.
but it's not like it was back when they were at the vet back in the day. I'm sure.
Yeah. Which, you know what, trash talking amongst friends and stuff and fun. There's a
Yeah.
level to that's fun because
Yeah.
you each know that like, well, we're not going to pull out knives and start stabbing each other. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to talk smack. Game's going to be over. One of us is going to have egg on our face, and that's enough of a defeat.
But
Uh,
every year, every season, there is some kind of crazy shit that goes down at
yeah.
some NFL game somewhere. Could be in the parking lot where people get into fights and nonsense, takes place and whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've been on the road a few times. I went to Lambeau. I saw the Cowboys play the Packers
Oh,
at
nice.
Lambeau. Cowboys
That wasn't the
won.
game that Des caught it, was it?
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. This was when this was what, 2009 or 8 or 9. It was a Sunday night game. T.O. was still on the
Oh,
team.
even
So it's
like cooler. Sunday night
yeah,
game.
it was a year, and I've been to a few others, been there, and I've been when they've lost, and it's
Tough.
yeah, it depends on what I was in like Minnesota, they're all Gary Grebs for the most part.
Oh,
So yeah, oh no,
oh, here's my hot dish.
yeah, come get some of this hot dish and some lutefisk.
Yeah.
I'm going to Carolina again. I'm going to Charlotte in December to see
Nice.
Cowboys play the Panthers. That's mainly not because I think the Panthers are like a cool stadium. It's kind of blasé, but no offense to you Carolina Panthers fans, but um my one of my best friends from since I was like 5 or 6 is a doctor out in South Carolina. He's only like an hour from Charlotte, so
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. So
Good.
anyway,
All right.
I could keep
There we
going
go.
on sports. We can do a whole.
I mean,
I need to move this. Well, we can just turn this into a satellite show and just talk football the whole time since football season is starting.
blasting the Buckeyes. That's what we can call this episode. Blasting the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, we had college football last weekend. I did watch that that game in Ireland. They played that. It was.
I'm not even gonna try.
It was Florida State and Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech won. That was a good game. It was just, it was cool to watch. It was a good game. And there's a couple other games that were played. And then like, this is the first full on weekend, with a lot of games are like, like Texas is playing. I think who they playing? New Mexico. It's
okay.
It's those
no
kind of
offense to
games.
Mexico,
No offense.
No,
Michigan's
Michigan's got one
State.
against
It's Colorado
like
State.
Michigan's got
who it
Fresno
is.
State this weekend, so it's gonna be like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
You
Then
know
the
what I'm
second
talking-
game. So my bad.
Yeah.
Texas is the second game of the season.
Second game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that's
we're
2
gonna be enemies
weeks.
next week, Bill.
Yeah. All right.
A week from Saturday. All right. How about those football games in Gotham? There we go. There's our transition.
Gotham Guardians,
Gotham
the
Rogues.
Rogues. Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually just a couple of
Gotham
Batmanimation
Knights.
episodes ago. Chris Clow was talking about when you and him were there in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
in the press box of the Gotham Rogues. And got your
I got him
jerseys.
that gig. I did. I got him that gig.
That's right. I remember that. And he's mentioned
Sure
it before
did.
and stuff too.
Yeah.
You still have your jersey, right?
I do. Yeah.
Even if it wouldn't fit, and I'm not asking if it still does or not, even if it wouldn't, you'd never get rid of it, right?
No.
Like that's something you hold on to forever.
Yeah.
Be buried with it.
Yes. And it still
All right.
fits.
Excellent. Well, we're talking about Cape
It's just a little,
Crusader.
it's a little
There's no
tighter,
football
a
involved
little
here.
tighter around the
A little tighter
arms,
now?
the chest,
The arms, yes.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
I'm
I'm
working
familiar.
out, so there you go.
I held on to my Heath Ledger Joker t-shirt from 2008 for so long, and then I was just like I was like Hulk and just hulked out of it. Arms, chest, just exploded that thing, and I kept it, but I'll never be in it again. It's a shame. Let's see. Cape Crusader. Been talking about that quite a bit on
Yeah.
Batmanimation, and we'll
Yep.
still be talking about it for a bit on Batmanimation. Right now, we're on episode 5 of the first season, The Stress of Her Regard, which I always say it, and I said this on the last Batmanimation with Pete. Like it's funny to even mention it, but always do for history
Mm-hmm.
notes that this was dropped like all of the episodes of that first season on August
Mm-hmm.
1st on Amazon Prime. It's still available there now. I haven't checked to see if you can buy it digitally or not. I just assumed you couldn't because it's still too fresh and new that it's exclusively on Prime, but I can't confirm because I haven't
There's an
checked.
option to download the episode, but I don't know what that means. Can you, I mean, is it like you download on your
On a
like your
device.
desk, and it stays here? I don't know, whatever. So
Okay.
I just put it on
I've
freaking Prime
downloaded,
and watch it. So
yeah, I have the Prime app on my iPad and I've downloaded on there because then also, little side note, it skips commercials. Because Prime started. I learned through this that Prime started adding commercials
I did too, and
unless you pay
I
more. And I was like, oh,
I broke down and paid the $5. So
to just bypass all that stuff. I get it.
yeah.
Let's see. This episode was directed by Matt Peters, who has actually done a few episodes this first season of this show, directing wise. Especially one that you and I were all about when we talked about here, the Clayface episode number 2 of the season.
Mm-hmm.
My computer is taking a while to load that up, but he's also, let's say, Jen directed this episode and then directs the Nocturne episode, which is episode 8. And all 3 of those, he's also with the writer of those episodes, which if I could speed this up, apologize. Computer's freezing. Uh, Hallie Wegren Gross, may have butchered it. Anyways, the 3 of them working together throughout this first season. This is known by many of us so far and easy to categorize. Just that this is the Harley Quinn episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've seen Dr. Harleen Quinzel in previous episodes so far in this first season, but I think they take quite a jump with her character here,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think they nodded toward villainy in her previous appearances, have they?
No, but I would
Okay,
say
I didn't think so.
would you agree that they kind of foreshadowed her scheme because her wanting to continue to work with Bruce in some of the previous episodes, he got released from her, and it seems like, well, we're going to get into it. I mean, she's basically imprisoning these super wealthy people and kind of punishing them. We'll get into more detail. I think Bruce was in her sights.
This similar to maybe more so than the Clayface episode. I think this benefits like rewatch is beneficial for the
Yes.
series
Yeah.
because I watched all of them that 1st
Mhm.
day.
Yes.
And then I've just been very slow in rewatching episode by episode. I haven't binged it again, and
Yeah.
especially to do it on Batmanimation here. And it is fun now rewatching and seeing so instantly. So what you just commented on, about what she's doing with the rich billionaires
Mm-hmm.
or millionaires, whatever, in Gotham, I instantly think of Bruce sitting in that exact chair,
Mm-hmm.
In episode 3, I
Mm-hmm.
think, and talking with her. And then, like you just said, also of how she wants to continue working with him
Mm-hmm.
now, your mind thinks differently than the first time that you watched those
Absolutely. Yeah,
episodes.
absolutely.
And that's great.
Yeah, there is, and I've said this before here on this show, talking about this series, is that there's that you can watch each episode and they stand on their own.
Mhm.
But especially when you go back and rewatch, which I'm doing because of Batmanimation this episode, and of course I'm doing the written reviews and the details of the episodes along with it, that you start to go, aha. There's a lot of aha moments and things that are interwoven, little threads throughout, which I quite like about this series.
I just want to know how far you've come, Bill, because Batmanimation just rolls off the tongue now. A little bit of a tongue twister there at the beginning,
yes,
you know, it was a Batman, and now Batmanimation just flies off.
I stood in front of a mirror,
Yeah.
which the announcer Rachel
The
makes fun
announcer Rachel
of how I say it, that word, the
Mhm.
thing you look in and you see your reflection, you know, when I'm just not thinking about saying it's mirror, you know,
Mhm.
that's the Southeast Texan in me.
The mirror.
The mirror. And she gets a kick out of that. Ha ha. So what's that thing you look in and see your reflection? Try to get me to say it, you know, mirror.
Does she,
Oh,
does she
Lord,
laugh like the bullpen at GCPD?
Yeah. But I
anyways,
practiced the word
yeah,
and enunciated.
you know,
And,
do the work and look what
slowed
happens.
down.
Success.
You know, yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you started to lay it out here now of like the synopsis of this one is that Dr. Harleen Quinzel, I keep saying billionaire, I think millionaire patients that
Yeah.
she's kind of, well, I like how one of the synopsis that I said or that I read said that like it's torturing, and my mind, and I laughed a little bit because one of those means of torture was tickling a foot with a feather, which I guess can be torturing, uh, to an extent. But billionaires to basically give up, I see, I just did it again. Damn. Uh, these rich folk to give up
Yeah.
their
There
money
you go.
to charities,
Mm-hmm.
and then they are disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
Batman and lawyer Barbara Gordon are both not working together, but on their own paths of investigating,
Mm-hmm.
come to the same conclusion of where, like, of the link, you know,
Yeah.
and I think very organically too. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's forced at all. And given the, like you mentioned, these are good standalone episodes. They also do have ramifications, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
links to other episodes. So Barbara, at this point, you've seen history with her and Harley. You
Yeah,
know,
they're
Batman
pals.
and his,
Yeah.
yeah, they're pals, and they both have a mutual friend in Renee Montoya, which links up Harley and Renee. Batman is doing Batman things in this Batman cartoon, so everything works that he also is picking up the link, you know, and he, what do you want to say? Not in a direct way, helps Barbara discover this as
Mm-hmm.
well
Mm-hmm.
by trashing Harley's office, but leaving like one specific book of appointments. I'm not saying that, you know, the character of Batman did this on purpose, but indirectly, he helped Barbara like pick up this book and look at it, which led her to where she needs to go.
There's a bit of throughout, and this is the rewatch thing, I think. There's a bit of Batman building up his allies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not like, but he's not like he's going, it's like not proactive or overt of, you know, I'm going to get Jim Gordon and Barbara Gordon and such, you know, Montoya. It's as their paths cross due to what's going on in Gotham, as we see in each episode, there's more of a coming together.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause in the beginning, there's nobody but
Hmm.
Pennyworth, and I
Yeah.
say that on purpose.
Yeah. That was a hard P there with
Pennyworth,
Pennyworth.
yes. And if you watch this, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that as well about this series.
Yeah. Barbara at the end of like towards the end of this, it is similar moments to the end of episode 2 of Batman coming in, saving Montoya, but stopping Clayface
Hmm.
in episode 4, where he's saving kids and him and Gordon work together to get kids out of the
Hmm.
burning
Hmm.
building. And
Yeah.
then here he directly does like Barbara kind of saves Batman.
Hmm.
And then he turns right around and like more directly flat out just saves her. And so it is like, and I don't think in any of these moments of, Montoya Gordon and Barbara Gordon, are they quickly now they've just flipped on a dime and be like, Batman's my ally, he's my friend. It's like still skeptical, but
Hmm.
still kind of like like still thinking differently with Batman. Thinking and I really like that because it is I don't think it's faster than a slow burn, but it's just not like, okay, all of a sudden now Batman, he's got all these allies and he's working alongside him and everything's great. They take their time with it, and I do enjoy that without it being, all right, we're gonna start with Bruce at 8 and his parents die and go really slow.
Yeah.
I really like their way of pushing this overall
It's
narrative forward.
it's like as they progress and as the series progresses, it's like because Gotham's corrupt as hell.
Hmm.
This animated Gotham, and it's like realizing, okay, yeah, he's a vigilante, but he's doing good, and there ain't too many
Hmm.
of us who are trying to do good here in Gotham.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep. So let's see which avenue. Let's get to Harley Quinn in a moment. Let's put a pin in that. And let's go more toward what you'd said just now with there's not many of us. Last episode, Bullock and Flass
Hmm.
got promoted to heads of the task force.
Yeah.
We get small scene with Jim Gordon in this episode, but we definitely get Barbara and Montoya talking about the toll that this is taking on him. And I think I almost feel like that's maybe an Ed Brubaker influence because I haven't read it, but it's very revered and highly praised his Gotham Central series, which
Hmm.
was the Gotham City Police Department and, crime and corruption and stuff. And I think it would totally make sense to me if his influence is in the relationship of GCPD.
Hmm.
And I think that that's a good layer in this overall 10 episode story. That's a really good layer it's not directly about Batman, but it relates to Batman and it has to do with his influence on Gotham, his mission, his purpose, and building these allies that we've already talked about. Uh, I just think that that's another thing that's done really well here. And we don't even get Flass or Bullock in this episode, which I guess is okay because there was their shining episode last episode. That was good stuff with them. Um,
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's all I really have to say on that front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it works. Like everything's working really well. Um, Jamie Chung voices Dr. Harleen Quinzel, and I think this is definitely one of my favorite villains of this first season. And it doesn't get the instant praise just because it's the character of Harley Quinn. Because this is similar but different Harley Quinn. And in that long article about the series with Tucker and Tim, where they talked about this characterization of her and how like public, it's very bright and chipper, and it's the suited up, the alter ego that's very
Hmm.
like like that's
she's
just darker
she's
and
very
methodical.
likable as Dr.
Yeah,
Quinzel.
yeah.
And
For
you
a
know,
therapist, or a doctor, she's very like almost bright-eyed sunny, you'd think.
yes. And she is, and then and you get to this episode, you see there's some ulterior motives when it comes
Hmm.
to the wealthy, but there's she's seems very nice and kind, and she's good friends with Barbie, as she
Hmm.
calls her.
Barbie.
And she is I mean, she's likable. She's a likable
Hmm.
character, as when we first meet her, and we don't now we finally see Harley Quinn. Hey y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor.
She does a really good job changing that voice when she's suited up too. And I think it's a really good, deep, slower, and creepier voice. And almost like very selective on her word choice and how she like just reads everything. And I really like the vocal performance of this Harley Quinn. It's another thing that is it's different than other animated Harley, but it fits the character of Harley as well. It doesn't feel like different for the sake of being different. It still
Yes.
works.
Yes.
And you don't
Yeah.
flat out, and she's not flat out evil either. Now, I don't know what she's gonna do, what you call it, the playpen, is where she keeps all the millionaires and dresses them up in ridiculous outfits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what her plans are for them in the long term, but when you see of like her crimes, it's like, yeah, that's not good, but she's no penguin in what she's doing to
No,
the
no.
victims.
Yeah, the penguin
Uh,
was
she's no Clayface with the
yeah,
victims, you
yeah.
know? I mean, you could almost say even Firebug, who is just imagining burning people alive. She's not doing that. She's getting
Yeah.
millionaires to give up their money to charities and causes.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, that
Yeah, on
sounds like
paper.
borderline heroic, but
Yeah.
then you see like the methods and how she's just like, "Ah, that's not good. You can't do that." Did you get a bit of a tickle with the opening? And though never named, this is something that Batman in animated forms have done a few times. The appearance of a character from Batman 66.
Yes. Um,
Here, his name is Fletcher Deming,
yeah.
but they
Okay.
never say King Tut, which
Yeah,
is how I
yes,
think
yes,
they're
yes,
allowed
yes,
to
yes.
include
Yeah.
King Tut in because
Yes.
I think he was in the Batman Brave and the Bold Scooby Doo. I don't know if he said anything, but I think he popped up somewhere. And in one of these animated forms, I looked up and he was called Pharaoh, but he looked like King Tut.
Yeah.
And I think that that's their workaround because of copyright issues and all sorts of, legal crap. They can't say King Tut. But I was in the playpen. Once he ended up in the playpen with all these others, I was scratching in my head to see if any of these other characters were like King Tut. And it was, oh, definitely that's so and so, but they don't mention who that
I
is. And I
was
couldn't,
I when at first you saw the King Tut, you knew immediately it was a nod to the
yeah,
60s series. And I also thought, okay, where are they going with this?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
where are they
It was
going
a little
with
bit
this?
surprised, like King
Yeah.
Tut. Okay, let's see.
Yeah. And then it fit with the story and what was going on with her.
Yep. And I mean, it does a couple of things because one, for us nerds, it can kind of be like, ha, King Tut. Then we learn that like how this guy factors in, like we get more of, okay, this guy, which then expands who he is
Mm-hmm.
and then links to what's been happening. Then we get to follow Barbara as she, as defense counsel, goes to Arkham Asylum, which I think last episode was the first time mentioned. Could be wrong. But this is the first time we see it. Very different Arkham in what we've seen than what we've seen before. Because this is one that takes the route of, a very nice but completely a white palette of a building. And that's what this is, rather than like a Gothic architecture that
with lightning.
kind
It's
of
always
accustomed
in the
to.
rain and
Yeah.
lightning and thunder and
lightning,
every
rain,
time. Yeah.
a scary Arkham sign. No, you almost had
Yeah.
to squint to see that it said Arkham Asylum chiseled into like the building right above the door.
Yeah.
But it was still, nonetheless, it was cool because it was like, oh, okay, we've got Arkham here, which is, big for Batman lore. And then this guy escapes, and it just leads to Barbara's path of linking Harley with the one behind all this. Like, what, I guess, just what do you think of Harley Quinn overall here, like suited up and all that stuff, her aesthetics, how she performs, how she is as a villain?
I like it. There was a part of me that always thought like the original version of Harley from Batman the Animated Series was a bit silly, with the the accent and the jester suit, the red and black, and it was kind of like we'll give the Joker a sidekick, but she has morphed or evolved into a character with a lot of substance,
Yeah.
And I don't think going into this you wanted to, well, let's do that again.
Yeah,
Because you've got
agreed.
the Harley Quinn animated series. You've had her since what, 30 years or so now. Then when we know the Margot Robbie appearances of Harley, which is very, very close to her comic book incarnation. And again, they kind of took a page from Margot Robbie as well.
All these are
in
under
return.
that umbrella of her debut appearance, that debut version of her, like some
Yes.
like smaller things are different, but for the overall character herself, they've strayed somewhat close.
Yeah.
And this was obviously like pretty different.
Yeah. And I'm like pull back the curtain guy. I would love to just know the process that they went through to come up with this version of Harley. And, it's just, I just don't think that the Joker's girlfriend thing sidekick would fit in this Gotham. And this one, does fit in this world, this Batman world. I think it's no different than,
I agree.
I mean, it's not much different than what Todd Phillips is doing with the character in Joker 2. That's a different take on Harley.
The animated series version of Harley is my favorite version of Harley because I just think that there's depth to the dysfunctional relationship of her and Joker. There's just a lot there, I think, to unpack. The Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Conner Harley, which is what we see mostly in the Harley Quinn animated show right now, that's entertaining, but also like for me, I'm a little like her as like an anti-hero deal.
Yeah.
Which she kind of was in BTAS, but also like she was a villain. I'd rather that version of Harley. So I welcomed this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll just will say that they introduced a new version, because I didn't think, okay, you're introducing Harley before the Joker. How's that going to work? Well, they've made it where, I mean, she really stands on her own, you know?
Hmm.
She's
Yeah.
not a sidekick. She's not a girlfriend. She's not, whatever. She,
Yeah.
the character stands on her own without having to have the Joker.
Yeah.
And as we finish up here and get to the end of the story, because it's kind of a cliffhanger,
Hmm.
no pun intended.
Ha! Look at that. Yeah, but I'm
Um, if I'm winking really hard, you
He
can't
is.
see
I
it.
can
You can
confirm
see
this.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a big wink.
If we see the Joker
Yeah.
in the future, I wonder if at all there's going to be any interaction between these two,
Yeah.
and if so, how?
I don't know what this if now I'm winking really
Yeah, he
big.
is. I can
This
confirm this.
the Caped Crusader version of Joker appears. I don't know what, his characterization will be like. It would be hard for me to think that he's a rich millionaire, rich folk, that Harley would come back and kidnap him and tickle his feet with feathers and have him donate all of his money.
Yeah.
I think that part of her story is finished because
Mm-hmm.
she has been discovered by Barbara and Batman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just assume it's going to be revealed what happened. And so I just
I
it
was about to
then
ask you. Yeah, what
I
do
just
you
don't know where they go with her. I definitely want her back. We haven't talked about like I think I like this episode a lot because there's almost like a triangle of Harley, Montoya, and Barbara, and that Harley and Barbara are close friends. Harley and Renee are starting a relationship deal. So and then it's like a tragedy on like on each peg
Mm-hmm.
by the end. Barbara discovering that what Harley's doing and who she is. And then also Renee Harley has to leave her date with Renee to
Mm-hmm.
go deal with this and then tells her meet up later. And then she calls her and cancels out on her. But then we leave the door open of like, okay, so Harley survived the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's open that she can return. And I want to see more because I just thought like I really liked her like as a villain. Like it was just she was cool and
Mm-hmm.
creepy. But then yeah, closing the book, I'm like, I don't think she'll be able to abduct rich folk anymore. So what are they gonna do with her?
Interesting. That's my question.
Yeah,
And I
that's not my
think
job.
you
So
hit the like creepy. This is a creepy version of Harley Quinn
yeah,
aesthetically.
yeah,
And,
because
and she's
as
pretty
she's
ruthless. I
driving
mean,
away,
if
yeah.
someone gets a feather and starts tickling your foot with it, you take out your wallet and just start throwing money out. I mean, that's
Oh
how that
man,
works. You just start,
because it'd be
I'm giving
like
my
this
money
is your
away because yeah,
you've got me. You can torture me, and you pull a feather out to tickle my foot. Like
yeah,
you are a monster. You're a monster.
yeah.
But like there's and like they just do an intriguing thing with her because she's got Batman trapped in the playpen, and she even says to him of like, I don't want to kill you, but I need a head start.
Mm-hmm.
And a nice attention to detail of the countdown clock of being old timey. I think that's really cool. And then she bails to leave Batman just on his own. So it's
Yeah.
almost the whole like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you deal on her end. And then she sees Barb on her way out. And I think it's really cool, a nice, attention to detail is as she's taking the makeup off her face, her voice is starting to change back to Harley and not
Yeah.
Harley sort of deal. And then she sees Barbara's car and says Barbie. And then she hits that note of like civilian life. And then she goes back to save Barbara and is very much like, we've got to get out of here. So it's like, a good job also, I think, linking like or not linking, but not veering too far off of Tim's original creation of Harley Quinn, and that she does sort of toe this line of she is a villain, but then you're seeing that she's not all bad either. Which then is just kind of,
Yeah.
huh. And then leads me to, like you said, I'm like, what are they gonna do with her? That's not my job. That's to stress out about. It's more of like I'm intrigued when season 2 comes out, and if she's one that returns, how she returns and what she's gonna be like. Maybe if wink, 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 the Joker is in this season 2 and she comes back, like, oh, okay, I'm interested in a
Mm-hmm.
very positive way of like, how are you gonna do this interaction?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she doesn't have any interaction with anybody
Yeah,
else and she's
that's
just on her own
exactly.
again.
Yeah,
And that's cool too. Like
exactly. Yeah.
I think they've laid good groundwork for you to enjoy this character in this world that she can, like, it is open and maybe she doesn't come back again. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if she does, like I look forward to it. And so that all of that is just, well, that's a positive episode then in my book.
Yeah, you would have to think that she survived the end for a reason, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
whether that reason is some interaction with the Joker or not, I'm I want to find out one way or the other, and I'll be good with
yeah.
either whatever route they go. I'm good.
To this point, Firebug is the only one that we know he is not coming back.
Yeah, because
Shot out a window, hits the ground in a body bag. Yeah, he's
real
gone.
quick,
He's
I know
done.
y'all talked about this episode last week, but do you think it's pretty clear that Bullock shot him, right? Or is it ambiguous to you?
I thought it was pretty clear. Bullock did. I feel
Yeah.
like Pete thought it was left a little ambiguous, but then I feel like
Okay.
he said
Yeah.
something that
Yes.
he leaned Bullock because it. But they did a good job of, like, they didn't show Bullock pull trigger, bullet out,
Yeah.
shoots Firebug, he falls out. It is, hmm, but it's just leading up to it. Flash's influence on Bullock, it just feels like
Yeah. Okay.
Bullock
I don't want
shot
to
him.
get off track onto another episode. I just wanted to
No.
ask real quick. Okay.
Uh, so yeah, that's, I mean, oh, that's right. I took some screen grabs because, and this, I did this the first time viewing as well. When Batman's flipping through newspaper headlines, did you stop and look in this?
I did not.
Okay. So there's something about, and you know which part I'm talking about, right? When he's doing the old when he's in the Batcave and he's
Mhm.
flipping through Gotham newspaper
Yeah, like
pages and stuff.
microfiche.
Yeah. And some of these could just be reaching. Some are obvious. And one is, it says March gives bizarre lecture at Gotham Zoo. Only thing I could think of was maybe Lincoln March, in which, yeah, no. But right next to it says rare flower found on site of proposed something. Okay, my mind instantly went to of proposed prison. My mind went to poison ivy, in which it's like,
Mhm.
okay, what would they do with that? Just got my mind thinking. Officer Wilkes didn't ring a bell to me.
Okay.
It's just like, as there's these sub stories that come totally into
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yes.
there's a
Yeah.
reason, especially in animation. Like, you are literally writing the headlines.
Hmm.
Um, one that was kind of funny said, "Got bats in your basement," and that's just funny. But then there's one that's Valestra, associate, skips town. Um, Valestro was in Mask of the Phantasm. He was a gangster. That to me tipped me off of like, oh, well, he would totally fit if they use, a character like that to maybe go up against Rupert Thorne or something. Uh, Hill/Reeves feud escalates. So Matt Reeves is maybe going up against Hamilton Hill. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, and then I didn't know if this was leading towards, a clown or something, but it says Carnival coming to Gotham. And actually, in just, a couple episodes, that comes into play. And then there's a book. Let's see. There's one thing that says scientist's daughter killed in car accident. No name mentioned. And then there's an advertisement that says nationwide bestseller. How to Stop Working and Influence People by Jonathan Crane, MD, in which Harley mentions at some point in this series, maybe it was this episode, of her professor, Dr. Crane.
Yes, she does.
So cool.
I'm sure
Like,
everything. Yeah, it's all
all
that
connected,
stuff.
Bill.
It is. Well, of course. It's that stuff's it's there for a reason. It
That's
could
what I
just
think.
be, it may not be this had to be setting up something,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
but it's there. It's not just gibberish or nonsense. It's it's thought out, you know. Could be tips
Yeah.
of the hat, nods, winks, or it could be something foreshadowing. So yeah.
Out of all of those, a likely poll I could see is Valestra because it just fits with mob crime,
Mm-hmm.
deal. But then Jonathan Crane showing up at some point too as
Mm-hmm.
Scarecrow. I'm a sucker for Scarecrow. Love
Mm-hmm.
Scarecrow. So his name mentioned, um, and actually his first issue in the 40s, like in his story and stuff, I think was pretty cool art. Even, it's dated, it's golden age and stuff, but it was kind of cool what they were going for with him. So I'm like, okay, transfer that to 1940s, but created now. That's got potential. So, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They didn't promise us anything. Could be reading into it, but that part was kind of fun. Let me ask you, do you have a favorite part of this episode?
It's always tough when you ask me that because I'm of the mind of like I just like the whole thing, you know, kind
You're a
of.
mind to make some mookie.
Um, I liked. Does it have to be bad? I mean, I like the finale,
Doesn't
the
have to be.
ending, you know, with
Like
her
the
and Barbara.
whole. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, mainly, that you kind of like Harley, Dr. Harley.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You and
And
I, spoiler alert, people, we're not millionaires.
yeah,
So we wouldn't be a target of Harley Quinn. We'd be an
no,
ally.
our feet would not be tickled by a
No, thank
feather
God.
from Harley Quinn, this version. And so when she fell, I'm like, it was like, let me go, Barbie. And all, you kind of felt because they've spent some time. You're a little bit
They've
invested,
established this friendship.
Yeah. Even though as the viewer, from the first time we see her, we know what's coming. You
Yeah.
still, I mean, they make her a likable character to
Hmm.
where you're like, and I was kind of like, are they going to kill her off? And then, of course, you always, get that phone call from in the phone booth just randomly because everyone, those numbers are just on
Yeah. Everybody's
everybody's
got them.
speed dial.
Everybody knows.
You want to find someone, you just call this phone booth number and, ring,
Yeah.
you'll pick it up and then, um, so there's that dynamic too, of like, I got to go away for a while, but, whatever with Montoya. So I feel there's more coming with Harley Quinn.
I forget his name. It wasn't King Tut from the beginning. Uh, it wasn't Emerson Collins, maybe. But when Harley goes to the playpen the second time, and that's where she opens up the door of the guy of the
Mm-hmm.
adult baby and gives him the bat. And this was a fun nod too, because she says that, you can have pudding or something. And he goes, pudding. And we
Mm-hmm.
all know like that link of Harley.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I almost want to say when we first see her suited up, because that's when we see her fully suited up, and then there's creepy music, and then the way that she shifted her voice and tone. But I think the bigger to see kind of how threatening she is and stuff, that second part, that might be my favorite because I just think it's creepy, and I just think the atmosphere of that scene itself is creepy, and I like
Yeah.
horror, so it
Yeah.
was effective.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. There's
What's your
the
favorite? Yeah.
dress of her regard.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Halfway through this first season of Cape Crusader. Where's it gonna go, Bill?
I'm looking
Is
forward to finding out. I'm
It
winking.
was
I
fun.
wonder if
Yeah,
I wonder what's coming in season 2.
yeah. I do know. I think Pete along somewhere was saying about how he hadn't watched episode 10 for a while, and it was like I'd almost said something in episode 10 to him before he'd mentioned that, and then episode 10 is a big episode.
It is.
Uh, and I think this back half does a really good job, I think, of building toward, because up to this point has been like establishment,
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
people and characters' relationships, and a really good job. And then I just think it does, especially most notably the Harvey Dent side of things, that storyline just ramps up, and it's a really
Yeah.
good trajectory too.
Yeah.
So I think Pete and I are slated that we're going to do the next episode, Gentleman
Hmm.
Ghost, and I haven't rewatched that one yet. That'll be an interesting rewatch, and I'll pick Boudin Pockets' brain about that one, and he'll pick mine. So, Bill, anything to plug by chance?
Mm, let's see. So do I have anything? Batman-on-film.com.
Dashes are important.
Yes, and I'm very much enjoying talking about Cape Crusader. It's
Mhm.
almost kind of like a scene by scene, chapter by chapter thing we did with the
A
with
little
the
bit.
Batman, and but it's episode by episode. But it is, I guess the comparison is when you're focused on just a few minutes of a movie, one
Hmm.
scene, and you really focus in on the details. You're watching just that. It's kind of, you go back and watch these episodes, 24 minutes, 25 minutes, 220, 221,
Whatever it
whatever it
takes.
takes. You knew that was coming. You pick up the little things, and there's things I'm
Yep.
missing, obviously, like, I need to, when we get to microfiche and newspapers, I need to pause the screen and look at some of the more of the detail, you know?
Yeah. And not even stuff that we missed, but just the Bruce sitting in the chair with Harley across from him. It just reads different.
It
Second
goes
viewing
back,
on your
changes,
rewatch.
it changes the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like, and that's cool. Nothing's contradictory. It's just like it gives good replay value, and not in a way that like, oh, you didn't get it. Well, you need to watch it again, then you'll get it. Because no, I think you should get it first viewing, in which I
Mm-hmm.
did. It's just, it is
Yeah.
fun now to have expectations set and then going and
Because
yeah, it's a fun process.
that's that's part of this. I think it's part of the experience of this, right? I mean, there's a
Yeah.
reason why um, Harley's targets were wealthy people. There's a reason why she wanted to continue, probably two reasons. She wanted to continue uh, working with Bruce Wayne as her patient. It was because he was rich, and she probably was going to, break out the feather on him.
Tickle his feet.
Yeah, at some point, and get him to, dump all of his money. And yeah, I mean, it just, I don't want to over analyze and over dramatize, but there's quite a bit of layers
Yeah.
to this series, you
Yeah.
know?
I agree.
And I
And
think
so
it's definitely, it's a rewatch. This is a
yep. Yeah.
rewatchable Batman series. Yeah.
And I am glad that they dropped everything at once, as
Yeah.
opposed to just a week by week basis, I think.
Yeah.
I do like week by week because it keeps the conversation going and stuff. But like this one, it's worked for me really well that I binged it all, and then now I'm really taking my time
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well,
in that regard.
you're going to get your week by week here
Yeah.
coming in about a month when the Penguin premieres
Oh goodness.
on HBO
Oh goodness.
and Max. So
Oh
there
boy.
we go. Then we'll have that
There we
slow
go.
burn.
Yeah. Whoa. Take it easy, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Pete is just going to be nonstop Penguin quoting. So you have that to look forward to
Oh,
on
can't wait.
Batman Dash on Dash
Yeah.
Film. He can do some quick live videos of him quoting the Penguin and then him eating Little Caesar's pizza as a sequel to his
Yeah.
his first performance.
You got to be. That's a deep
Uh,
pool. You got to be a big time BOFer to know what what it's all about.
Still on the site though. Still on the site.
It's still there.
All right. As for me, my podcast, the Batman Book Club, Bill generously posts those on batman-on-film.com, as well as you can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. Last episode was with Trey Jackson talking The Man Who Falls, which was pretty influential in this highly revered Batman movie called Batman Begins. And yeah, we talked at length about that story. So that's pretty fun. That's on BOF. So I guess that's all we got. And so next Batmanimation, talking episode 6, Night Ride of Caped Crusader. So for Bill and Ryan and the announcer Rachel, will take us out.
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Batmanimation on Twitter @Batmanimation. Follow BOF on Twitter @TheBatmanOnFilm. Follow Jett on Twitter @BatmanOnFilm. For Jett and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original. Established in 1998.
Back in 98, got the site up and started flossing. Batman on Film, know the buzz ain't stopping. Breaking news on the Caped Crusader, never bluffing. Bill Jett, he the editor, yeah, he got it popping. In the dark of the night, we check the site. Batman on Film, got the news so tight. From Gotham City streets to Batmobile rides. It's all about the Dark Knight, we join the hype. Rumor mill spinning, what's the latest dilemma? No one's trilogy starting, feel the cinema tremor. Affleck 2 Pattinson's boots, who's next in the line? Click the link, hit refresh, we losing our minds. Stay ahead with set leaks and the podcast to flow. From the back cave straight to your stereo. In the dark of the night, we check the site. Batman on Film, got the news so tight. From Gotham City streets to Batmobile rides. It's all about the Dark Knight, we join the hype. All updates coming, can't deny. From the Joker's laugh to the bats who fly. Every fan all across see the passion align. For the Batman on Film, where legends reside. In the dark of the night, we check the site. Batman on Film, got the news so tight. From Gotham City streets to Batmobile rides. It's all about the Dark Knight, we join the hype. The hype, the hype.